So, welcome to another episode of Smiling Again. Today, with me is a gentleman called Tony Newell. And Tony's here to chat with me about his experience being married to an alcoholic. So, Tony, thank you for having the courage to speak with me today.
Yes, good afternoon, Kim. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Well, I am grateful that you're here because I know these conversations are difficult, and I know often surrounding alcoholism in the family, we tend to keep things quiet. And
Yes.
I think it's really important for us to talk about it so people who hear learn about what it's like, because there really is no understanding unless you're in the situation. And those who are in the situation, hopefully they can hear that they're not alone and they're not the only one going through circumstances similar to yours. So thank you.
Yes.
So you were married for 18 years and your wife is is the alcoholic, and you described to me that it was dysfunctional for 16 years. What did you mean by that?
Dysfunctional. It was, she was a very, alcoholics can be either very functional or unfunctional, and she was a very unfunctional alcoholic. She refused to work. She would come up with any excuse she could to not work. Um, so that put a lot of strain on our finances. She was spending, oh gosh, about $500 a month and $600 a month on alcohol and cigarettes. Because when she drank, she smoked a lot. She bragged about being an alcoholic. She always, well, I'm just an alcoholic. You have to live with it. She went through treatment many times, would go through treatment. She tried AA. She tried Celebrate Recovery. Um, and through all that, all she kind of seemed to always still come out my fault. No matter what happened, it was always my fault. That was she always went back to drinking. Sometimes there was times that she would be honest with me about why she drank, about her childhood, about her kids, about this and that. But most of all, it was because I didn't make enough money, or I couldn't support the family correctly, or so that's pretty much how I lived for the 18 years. It was a drunk that would stay drunk for like 3 months straight, wake up drunk or wake up and drink, pass out. She never really slept for that at those times. She would when she finally would start coming out of her episodes, I called them, I guess, for 3 or 4 months at a time. She would get straight for about 2, 3 months, and oh yeah, I'm kind of sorry. It wasn't really a I'm sorry. It was always a half a sorry. It was always, well, yeah, it's because I'm so sad, or it's always because of this. So you got to understand, and I always did. I always understood. I always gave her the benefit of the doubt that I understood why she was drinking. I knew. I mean, I understand. I wish I tried helping her see things differently so she didn't have to look. Everything she looked at was always negative. It was like an excuse. She was looking for excuses to drink. So it was kind of hard to live. Didn't go out much. We had friends, and a lot of them. We lost a lot of friends because of it, and I would have to stay working through all this, and as I was working, had not knowing what to come home to when she was in her episodes of passed out, if she'd be stopped drinking, if she would be dead, if she would be how just I never knew what situation I was going to be walking in when I came home.
And
And
Tony, how did that make you feel? Because I know what that's like.
at the time when you're going through it, it's like you don't really know. It's kind of like it kind of numbs you. You kind of get numb because it's the hurt is so bad. You don't, the scare is so bad. You really just kind of do it day by day and kind of go through it. Now, when I look back on it, I feel all the pain, I feel all the hurt. During the time, you don't realize, how much damage it's doing to you mentally.
Mhm. So let's pause there for a moment, Tony. I know when we look back, we sort of replay the events in our heads of what somebody did or what things were like. Now, when you look back, are you able to look at it from the perspective of what you were doing or how you were feeling, how you were coping in those situations?
Yes, not good. I wasn't. When I was going through it, I thought I was strong. I could do it, and I was doing it to help her. All those things, but I lost myself. I lost who I was. I lost me, and it took quite a few incidences to finally start putting it together what was going on. And about 7 years ago, I guess it was, about the end of it, that's when the things started, when I started getting back to, wait a minute, this is not going to end well. This is not good. Um, you never want to abandon her, or I never wanted to, didn't want her on the streets. I always felt like if I just kicked her out, I felt like she was going to be dead. I thought she was going to die. I really did. I didn't think she was going to live through it. Yeah, there's at least 3 times where I should have ended it, and I bet she would have hit rock bottom and got better, or found her own way and been fine, and I would have been much better off. But I kept thinking that you can always help. I mean, I can't just leave her on the streets. I can't. I moved to Phoenix in 2008 to leave her and to move on with my life at that time. She couldn't keep a job in Minnesota. She was losing the house. It was her house, and of course that's all my fault at this time. But she couldn't keep a job, and she was losing the house. She ran up a huge attorney bill with her attorney for fighting for her custody of her kids from her ex-husband, and I couldn't deal with it anymore. I says, I'm done. I had her in treatment a few times and it wasn't working. And I says, I'm done. I'm out. I left in November of 2008, September of 2008. And by November, she was calling me up and begging me to get back together. And so I moved her to Phoenix with me. And that kind of put guilt on me for the rest of the time, because she has nowhere to go now. She has no family around, nothing. So that always kept me feeling guilty that I have to take care of her. And that was far from the truth. I could have let her go at any time. Um, but that was my guilt. And I think she played that on me a lot.
You shared with me also that your health became quite critical with fourth stage colon cancer.
Wearing my shirt today, colon cancer warriors.
Oh, brilliant.
Um, yes. Well, first I kind of lead up to that. In 2015, we had a good break. We was about 16 months, or well, not even quite that much, about 13 months of bliss. It was great. She was sober. We were actually getting involved back in the church. We were actually doing marriage counseling. And I thought, this is great. This is right work. That's why I went through all this. I went through all this to help other couples. It was great. That was the best time of our marriage right there. And it was going great. And we got a knock on the door at 10 o'clock at night on October 15th, 2015, I believe, or 16. Her daughter, my stepdaughter, her daughter, 16 years old, was in a motorcycle accident. And it was pretty severe. She lived through it. She's fine. She's got some leg damage, but she lived through it. But the cops just told us she was doing 90 miles an hour on the back of a bike, and they hit a curb and she went flying. So we're on the way to the hospital not knowing what it was. And all I'm thinking is, I just lost everything. I just lost everything. I don't know if I'm going to make it, or our daughter. And then that's going to cause my wife to start drinking again, and everything's going to go out. Well, sure enough, 6 months later, not even 6 months later, she was drinking again. And it was pretty heavy. And she got us evicted from our home because she got in a fight with a neighbor in our apartment. And they don't allow police action on her property and all this stuff. So we got evicted. 3 days to get kicked out. We got kicked out of there. And it took about 2 years to rebuild back up to a nice apartment again and everything, get back together or get back in a nice place and get going good. And everything was sort of going good. She wasn't drinking as much at the time and everything. And then on February 6, 2018, I was diagnosed with cancer. It was about a week long. I was in the hospital for anemic. The tumor was sucking all my blood out and all this. So they had to get the tumor out right away, the colon. And during the CAT scan, they noticed 2 more spots on the liver. So it was automatically 4th-stage colon cancer. And so they had to do the colon first to stop so I could get my blood levels back up and stay normal before they can do the liver. And that was going to be, so they came up with a plan. Everything was great. The night I had the colon surgery, they came back out and told her everything went fine, everything's good, she could go home. I'm sleeping for the night, I'm going to be fine. And everything was fine until morning, about 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. I woke up and I was having it wasn't pain, it was like spasms in my stomach. It probably wasn't pain because I was probably still numb. I don't know, but they kept saying, oh, he's in pain, we got to get some kind of med. And it took about 2 hours to find something that the doctor finally approved and gave me something to help it. But I was spasming and I was worried about my staples coming out and all this. And the whole time I'm asking, where's my wife, where's my wife, where's my wife? And no one could tell me. We tried calling her and all this. And well, she had a few visitors throughout the day, and I was talking to my family about Minnesota, my 2 sisters and my daughter, my youngest daughter. And they planned to come down to visit me to help me because my wife wasn't around. My wife showed up about 6 o'clock that night. And well, Tony, I'm an alcoholic. What do you expect me to do when I find out my husband's got 4th-stage colon cancer? Well, I kind of expect you to be here for me, you know. So that was kind of hard. She stayed sober pretty much throughout. It took me 9 months. The physical part was hard. It was very hard, but it would have been easier if the mental side would have been, if I was in a better mental state. I had 3 friends of mine down there that were there for me. And other than that, if it wasn't for those 3 people, I had nobody. She had pushed everybody away. So thank God I finished treatment up in November and got back on her feet because we got very financially behind because of checks where you have to sign paperwork every month to get your disability. And sometimes the doctors were slow. So we would go 2 months without a check. She would not work for nothing. She was doing her Uber, make about $130 a night. That was take home, or that was before any expenses. She would go spend gas, fill up the tank and buy her cigarettes and stuff. And by that time it's like $90 or $80 and then have to go to Walmart to buy something and blame it all on me that I'm eating too much. I'm like, I'm on chemo. I'm not eating nothing, you know, but it was always my fault that we never had money. And we'd get one of my checks in the mail, or get one of my checks finally. And it would go to catch up everything and it was never enough. And so anyway, we got, stayed with a friend for like 2 or 3 months at the end of 2018. And by the time I went back to work in December 1st, and I was able to get caught back up on everything, and we finally got out on our own again. But actually, I was scared to death to move in with her alone. I did not want to move with her alone. I was so scared of living with her, just the uncertainty. I always said that fighting cancer was easier than living with an alcoholic. And I know that's, there's reasons behind that. But living with an alcoholic, you never know when it's going to end. You don't know how it's going to end. The cancer, they told me the treatment, and I know there's other cancer patients out there that don't have that luxury and that blessing that they're told that you could do this and it's going to be fine. They told me at 9 months, this is 4th-stage colon cancer, but I mean, if you're going to have fourth stage colon cancer, yours is the easiest to fix, to heal. They can guarantee me they will get me cancer free in 9 months, but they just weren't sure if it was going to reoccur again. That they couldn't guarantee, and that's fine. I can live with that. So I had a mission to fight for that 9 months, or from February I started till November. By the end of November, I was done. And so I had a month there of going back to work and trying to get life back to normal, but I was scared to death to go back and live with her alone, because I knew she wasn't drinking because she couldn't drink with her friends, living with her friends. She had to, she worked, and things were, life was manageable, I guess. And I knew as soon as we moved out, everything was going to be back on my shoulders again. And I was scared to death of that. I felt I could do it. I just couldn't handle the drinking anymore. That I was done. Yeah, we lasted about a year and a half there in that apartment. And she was drinking all the time, all the time. I think she went through treatment again. But it was, and when they go off to treatment, they come back and they brag about, oh, I got so healed. I felt so good after that. And oh, and you're sitting here back at home taking care of all the bills and the house and just taking care of life and just figuring, entertaining yourself, and really can't do much because you're married, and you just, your friends aren't talking to you much anymore. I had the three friends, but they were, they have their own lives too. And so it was tough when she was gone. But it was nice. I mean, it was actually, life was tolerable at that time when she would be gone. But I always felt like, why I need a place like that? Why can't I go away for a month? I took 9 months off only because I had cancer and I was trying to get better, but I need a month off to mentally heal. I never got that. And she would always wonder why I couldn't get better, and it was like, because I'm too busy taking care of things. I don't know what I could have done differently during that, but um, there's things, I guess I look back now, I guess I could have done, but I didn't like an Al-Anon. I don't like the 12 steps. I don't like Al-Anon. Um, I tried that. I tried counseling. I tried all sorts of things. I never connected with anybody. I don't know why. I just never, nothing. I guess the thing I was looking for was her to, I think what would have helped a lot is her actually acknowledging that how much I was there for her. That would have helped. But I never got there, never got that. In January of 2020, I was offered retirement from American Airlines, given a nice check and 6 months of insurance available, and lifelong flight benefits. That's all I was going for when I worked there. Is lifelong flight benefits. But so I felt I've worked here 15 years. I should find a job very easy. It should be no problem. And sure enough, I found a job, good pay, paid more, doing better work, and wasn't in the airlines anymore. That was a stressful situation. COVID hit, and everything was shutting down because no one knew how to learn from home. The training class I was scheduled to start on, that now I had 3 jobs lined up after they kept falling through. I lined up more and kept going. Every one of them, the last minute. We don't have any online training yet. We're still working on that. Everything was in person, and so COVID really wrecked all that. And the money was going fast. She went and spent $3,000 on her teeth, on her teeth and her daughter's teeth. And I'm like, and she goes, "Well, I got to use it before you spend it all." And I'm like, "Yeah, I got to pay bills." That's where they got to go, is bills. That's all I had planned for it. Not like I go out doing anything with it. And so anyway, here I am again, all this nervousness about living with her again come up, and it's not gonna end good here. And I I hit the emergency button. I called my mom up in Florida here, and I says, "Mom," I says, "we're sinking here. I don't know what to do." I was 50 years old at the time. Mom, can I come live with you? Can I stay with you for a couple years? Can we, we can help each other out? A couple days of talking, and yeah, I had to talk my stepdad into it. And my mom did not like my wife at all. They did not get along. And it's funny because my mom gets along with everybody. And she says, "Well, but if she causes any trouble, if she drinks, you're out." And I says, "Perfect. That's what that's fine with me. If she drinks, I will leave." But hopefully she understands that. And she didn't. She went a year and a half without drinking and was doing fine. And then she gets the big idea that she's going to go off her medication because her medication is causing her to gain too much weight. So she went off her medication, and oh gosh, no more than 4 months later, it was all about her again, and how no one cares about her, and that I'm a loser. And that was in January a year ago, and it's been a rough year. I told her in January last year, because she was drinking. She started drinking again, and she got into my mom's face a few times, and things like that. And I tried to. I warned her. I says, if you drink anymore, I'm going to put you on a plane, and I'm going to send you up to Minnesota, and I don't care what happens to you, but I'm not dealing with it anymore. Well, it took until October for me to finally put that rule in, and I finally did it. I finally ended up paying her $3,000 and giving her the car to just leave. Now the intentions were she was going to take over the payments. I have 1 year left on the car to pay, and her to take over all that. But she's got the big idea that she deserves alimony and that I should be paying. It's all my responsibility and I should be taking care of her. Well, she left in October and she moved in with a guy. And she drank for the whole month of October, but then I think he was going to kick her out. And she stopped drinking. So now it's all my fault she drank. And I haven't talked to her since the day after Thanksgiving. So I don't know what all the story is, but he's bought her a new car. And the car, she's got the car, but I haven't made a payment on it because I can't. And I gave her all the information to make the payments. And anyway, so it's all my fault. She's supposedly got a new car from him, and she's living life happily. And I'm still sitting here trying to pick up all the pieces from the mess she's left again. So that's how things ended. Not the way I was, when I would see her drunk and passed out for days on end, and I'd pray over her and I'd look over her and think, someday this is going to be worth it. Someday this is going to be worth it. Someday this is going to be a story. Someday we're going to make it. We're going to make it. I kept having that faith, and probably a little too much. So,
But when you love somebody, that's what you do, isn't it? You hold on and you hold
yeah,
on and you hold on so much
yeah,
so that you don't realize how much you're losing yourself in the process. So
yeah,
every point that you've described, you were clearly doing the best that you could, the best that you knew how, with all your heart. And along the way, as you described, you lost yourself. And now, what I'd love to talk about is that journey into the light,
yes,
how you've described going from the darkness into the light.
yes. So my main, I'm a Christian. I believe in God and all that, and he's kind of what's kept me going through all of it is my focus on him. His face, keep going, um, and that's pretty much what's getting me through. I still have some um, physical ailments going on. I have some, of course, my finances is in terrible ruins. But you know what? I know I can. I picked myself up before. I can do it again. And I know this time it's going to be worth it, and I am excited about it. I this process of what I've been going through, it's part of it about doing even this interview and even talking about it anymore. It's kind of like, it's kind of a mixed bag. It feels good to talk about it, but it also, you you kind of just want to forget it and just move on and just say, I learned, I lived, I made it, move on. But if I don't know if I could, if anything, if someone hears this and can just see, oh my gosh, that's where I'm at, you know, and kind of, I ain't saying leave anybody, I ain't saying anything. I'm just saying during that, you have to take care of yourself. And I think I lost that somewhere. Well, I'm taking care of myself now, and I'm doing much better. Every day gets better. I just, I had a great Christmas with family. It was awesome. It was great. A week down here with all my sisters and brother-in-laws, and it was just a blessing. It was just awesome. And I start a new job next week, and I'm excited about that. I just have a lot to look forward to, and it's just, and I feel at peace with it now. I'm not scared of the future anymore, and I actually, if I work for something, I know something's not going to come along and just take it away, you know, like her drinking again or something, you know. It's just, it's, I feel more secure now, and so I'm feeling really good about the future. I'm feeling really good.
That's beautiful, Tony. I love how you have described all of that and the realization of how healing it is when you start taking care of yourself.
Yeah,
And once you start doing that, it all changes. And then you
it
just
does.
keep taking care of yourself, and it continues to get better and better.
Because
Thank
you
you.
can, I
Oh,
will get better. Yes, there,
yeah.
it is possible.
And I have to say, the thing that I've learned through all of this, through my own healing, is I know it can be tough talking about things from the past and remembering things from the past. But when we do, and when we feel it, and when we let those feelings pass, they go and they lose their power. And the more we
Yeah.
talk about it, the easier it gets to talk about it, because those emotions don't have a hold on us anymore. So you're going to feel even better tomorrow after this conversation, Tony. So
Oh,
thank
good.
you so much.
Oh,
So
yes.
I'm so grateful that you've been here to share so wholeheartedly. I think it will help many who listen. And I like to end every conversation with gratitude. Could you tell us something that you're feeling grateful for today?
Life. uh, um, uh, February 6th, 2018, I Googled things about cancer, and it didn't look good. I mean, 5 years down the road did not have good. So I beat that. February 6th will be 5 years. I hit that mark. I got a week to go. I'm pretty sure I'm going to make it. And so just being so grateful about life now, just being so much out there, so much the beach. I just love the beach. I just love sunrises and sunsets. And I got into barns. I love old barns. I follow. It started when we moved just before I was diagnosed. I had this picture of a barn. It was in Ohio. It's a very famous barn, and it was a painting, and it was such a cool painting. You look at it from different angles, and you just see different lights in it, and it's shadowed differently. And so now I love barns. You know, I mean, I don't know why that's kind of silly, but I mean, just light. I get more out of my Bible readings now. I get more out of. It's just I'm just happy to be alive now. It's just, I guess that's what I'm thankful for, is life itself, just being alive and being here. Because I really don't think I should be. I mean, after everything I went through, I feel very blessed that I'm here. So I guess that's what I'm very grateful for.
That's lovely, Tony. And thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. I
Thank
think
you.
it's a
Yes.
wonderful story. And I hope that everyone heard the really important message there, which is that when you start taking care of yourself, life can change for the better.
Yes, it can. Yeah.
And if everybody does that, I'm sure there'll be a
Yes.
lot more people smiling again.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.